And here we are, welcome back to Oh the Humanities. We've done another one again because people have been nice and because they're a lot of fun to do and we have new recording stuff.
And we hope that when this goes up, you'll go, oh, the Humanities have made a podcast.
Yeah, I am Coffee Jesus, or
Hello.
CJ, and you are...
My name's Patrick. You may call me Paddy or Pad. Other names involving that. You go for it, think of some.
No. Last episode, right at the end, oh God, we've got people take an interest in coffee. The coffee for today is Ethiopia, which has an apple crispness. It's beautiful. I will drink that on, I nearly said on camera then. That would be my specialist website.
You're drinking it on camera, but this contains no visual portion, so... unfortunately,
beautiful.
Your efforts are lost. But how does it taste?
It's beautiful. It's really, really crisp and juicy. And the problem is that, Sumatra is a very dark and delicious and juicy coffee. But a lot of my favourite coffees that had that sort of recipe, like French roast, was a dark coffee with and a real essence, a real taste of black currant in it. There was a breakfast blend which, when it cooled, you could drink it like orange juice. It got a real zesty wonder. And there was a blonde roast which had an essence of sort of orange and limes in there, so if you matched it with the bacon butter, it was absolutely divine. But a lot of those coffees have now been phased out because they didn't sell, so kind of in mourning for a few favourites. But Ethiopia's still got that. It's still a wonderfully juicy coffee to drink at any time of the day, and it's got that sort of starbursty, mouth-watering aspect to it, which bleeds down the jowls. Nom nom nom.
Nom nom. Well, I've got a special drink today as well.
Tell me what you've got.
I've got tea.
Have you bought a slightly more expensive bag of tea, or is it still
slightly cheaper?
Right. So last episode, I was excited about a game, but forgot about it for our most anticipated list, and thought you were going to say something about it, but you didn't.
Okay.
And that game was The Tomorrow Children.
Oh my god, I had that exact thought yesterday. That's weird, because I just thought, oh my god, how did I forget that?
And when the list was going along, and I'm sure you said something like, well, here's one, and my brain just went, oh my god, you've forgotten that one. Because I love, I really wanted to say sort of the Russian look for it, but I came up with a word. Technology. Technology.
That's good.
Man, let's just let that breathe a minute. But you know, the sort of the wooden dolls and the shiny tabletop worlds and the mining, and it just looks really different and really, really cool. And Dylan Cuthbert as well.
Yeah. What's the company who makes it? I can't remember who makes it.
Isn't it the same folks that make Lumines? And is it E? Is it E?
E?
I'm sure they do. Is it E Entertainment or something like that, or Q Entertainment?
Q.
Sounds about right.
They make the Pixel Junk games.
That sounds about right. Because I've got something that ties in with this. I'm going to have to run to the bathroom to grab a magazine. But think of this, if you're listening, as the 2p under the tabletop moment for this.
Right, here we go. We'll wait for you.
Right, BRB, lols.
We'll wait for you.
Off to the moon.
See, other podcasts, they plan. They have all this ready to go. They think of their segments. They write down a list of notes. CJ does that, but not today. You're getting Twin Humanities Uncovered. Uncovered? Is that the right word? Who knows? I hear a sound. He's returning.
I forgot I've not got a mute button on there.
He doesn't have a mute button.
Right, headphones back on.
Hello!
Hello. Right, so what ties into this is in the current Retro Gamer, the one with all the how PlayStation changed the world and stuff in there.
Aye.
There's a feature on Argonaut software.
I've heard of them.
Argonaut software, let me see, page 92. I am staggeringly out of breath.
Well, that's because I know how far it is to your bathroom. That isn't far.
No, but I did kind of run and vault over the stuff that I've not cleaned in my kitchen.
Did you make a kind of like a $6 million man as you went over?
I don't know. I just kind of it was like a blink thing from Dishonored. Like I just sort of saw the magazine in the distance. And Right, so there's a feature on Argonaut software, and they did stuff back in the day on the ST and Amiga, a game called Star Glider. They did official conversions of Afterburner for the ST and Amiga, but then they went on to do Star Fox.
Okay.
For Nintendo, and there's a really cool interview with Jez San, who was like the
What's
the
his
main
name?
guy. Jez San.
What a cool name.
Jesan, yeah.
Oh.
And there's a really cool interview with him, but he was saying that there's a bit where they did Dylan Cuthbert was one of the guys at Argonaut.
Okay.
And they said that they'd done Star Fox 2 for Nintendo for the SNES, and Nintendo suddenly weren't going to release it. They broke off their deal with Argonaut. They headhunted Dylan Cuthbert, so they removed their main programmer from the company. And then Dylan Cuthbert basically said that he saw Nintendo doing Star Fox 2 for the N64, and basically typing out the code from Argonaut's Star Fox 2 for the SNES, line by line. And Argonaut were like, we never saw a penny of that.
Wow.
It's like, fucking hell. But I was reading that, and it's a really good piece as well, but there's a cool bit towards the end where it basically says that Argonaut sort of grew out, and they ended up having about like 6 weeks to do a Catwoman game on the PS1 for EA.
Right.
So unsurprisingly, about 6 months I think it was. Unsurprisingly, it didn't sell. EA blamed them for it, and they kind of built a big team to be able to try and do this, and the company collapsed and stuff. But let me see. There was a really little interesting splinter in there. Let me
Okay.
just find the bit. Obviously, this is stunning radio.
Planning.
Yeah, they did the Alien Resurrection game on the PlayStation as well.
Oh. I played that.
Am I thinking of another one?
That was not a good game.
Never mind.
Yeah. Alien Trilogy, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Because that shit was rad.
Yeah, it says, unable to downsize quickly enough, Argonaut PLC collapsed, and with Jez resigning in the autumn as the company crashed around him. However, with money from ARC, the technology wing of Argonaut, Jez managed to save two small portions of the company in the shape of Cambridge-based studio Just Add Monsters and Morpheme, a small mobile game developer. The latter went under shortly afterwards, but Just Add Monsters evolved into Ninja Theory.
What?
Yeah! So I was reading this, I was like, fuck, that's really cool. But I know this is a roundabout thing because we've gone from Dylan Cuthbert to Ninja Theory, but I just thought it was really cool, and one of the things that I love about Retro Gamer is I can see people who were icons of my youth and were, popular in the magazines and stuff, and often it's interesting to trace a line to those people in the modern day, and some are behind the scenes, some are in front of the camera, but I always find it fascinating to see that wonderful lineage of the British gaming industry, and to praise it and admire it as well. So,
yeah. So this week for the show. So what did you have planned? Because we plan our shows. I have nothing.
Well, I kind of, funnily enough, I went out for a cinnamon 4-shot latte this afternoon after work, and just thought of a few things that I'd been cracking into. But the thing I'm going to tell you at the start is the greatest story from this week. And it's somebody that came into store, and I'm going to go into accent with this because it is genius.
Is this going to get slightly racist?
No, it's just genius. It's absolutely genius.
Okay.
All I'm going to say,
let me get comfy. Okay, hit me.
All I'm going to say is the last line of this is without any facial features whatsoever.
Okay.
Right. So, guy comes in and he goes, "Coffee." I'm like, what kind of black? Would you like a filter or an Americano? American. And then there's silence, and I start moving to get some of this stuff sorted, and he went, "Cream." I was like, "Pouring cream?" And he just went, with no facial movements whatsoever, no hand gestures whatsoever, he went, he just made that noise, and I was like, whipped cream. And I did the international symbol of whipped cream, which is the rotating hand.
It's in your hand, yeah, clearly.
And he was like, yes. And his face didn't move. It was genius.
So he made the noise of the whippy machine.
He just made the noise of whipped cream. So I'll run through this again without any pauses.
Yep.
Goofy. What kind of black? Filter American? American. Cream. Pouring cream? It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I knew I'd lived in a comedy moment at that point. But
did you laugh out loud, or did you manage to hold it?
I think I just kind of I sorted it and then disappeared around the corner and just wept into a sink.
I always like when that happens. When you have to go and have a little sit down and a cry.
It was incredible.
Incredible.
So what have you been doing? Gaming? Actually, this is a little bit left to centre.
Okay.
Talk about the Dredd stuff that you're after, because I tried to get the first part of the.
Oh, good. Do you know what? Of the few words I'd written down for this, that's one of them. Dredd.
Tell the audience about you. You're a big fan of the Judge Dredd.
I'm a massive. I am what they call a Dredd. I'm a Dredd head. Is what we're called. A Dredd head. It's not. Are we? I don't know. I like to call myself a Dredd head.
A Dreadnought.
I like Dredd head better.
I just thought it was a thing.
No, it's not. It's a shame, but it's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. But I always identify as a Dredd head.
So something's happening in newsagents.
Yes,
there's a thing to the archives of Dredd.
There is. Okay, shut up. Let me talk.
I'm setting you up.
I'm trying to talk, and you keep telling me the story.
I'm moving away from the microphone. And
go get another issue of Retro Gamer from the toilet. Okay, so as a massive Dredd head, I do keep my nose on the pulse, my ear to the chicken about all things Judge Dredd. And I recently, very, very recently, followed 2000 AD on Twitter, which I don't usually follow many brands on Twitter because they're all cunts. But generally, I thought, okay, I'll follow 2000 AD. And just perfectly timing, Mega Collection out soon. And I thought, well, what the hell is that? So I Googled on through. And basically what they're doing is releasing one of these usually fucking toxic one magazine every 2 weeks. The first one costs you like £1, the next one's £5, and the next one is like a mortgage. And like they go on for like 1,000 parts, and by the end of it, you can build like a working lawnmower, or there's a 3D printer one out at the moment, for instance. But 2000 AD have come out with one, which is they're calling it the Dredd Mega Collection. And what they're doing is basically comprising a whole bunch of the absolute best Dredd stories into a collectible hardback book type collection. They are in an order. It's not chronological like the Judge Dredd Case Files books, which, if you're into completeness, is what you should be getting, because they are the law in order, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay. The law in order, right? And those are literally every single prog. You can get in order from 1 to nothing. I've got 18 of those now, which is good. But these are basically curated, so there's some of the best Dredd stories taken in a rough reading order that makes sense. And the very first one is out in basically all W.H. Smiths and newsagents and stuff. It's like A3 in size, you cannot miss it. And it is a hardcover, which is really beautiful looking.
Hold on, it's what the graphic novel's A3, yep. or the package is A3?
The packaging is A3.
Okay.
The graphic novel is A4-ish. But it is a packaging of Judge Dredd's America storyline, widely regarded as one of the best Dredd stories ever written, and doesn't actually contain an awful lot of the Judge himself in it.
Okay.
Would you believe? It's more of a story of people actually living in Mega City 1 and how the people perceive the Judges. And it's a really nice alternative take, if you've not considered, if you just look at them and think, yeah, man with gun, shoot bad guy, yeah.
So did they then zoom in on Dredd as a character that was popular with people, or that they wanted to follow, people were like, oh, that guy's really cool, we really want to follow him, after that? Or
no, it's a story about fear.
No, but I mean, is this kind of the first Dredd 2000 AD story, or the first Mega City 1 2000 AD story? Or is it chronological, did you say? This
is not really in a chronological order. they're bringing them out. They're kind of grouping stuff together. So they're bringing out some democracy stuff, which is a big thing in the Dredd world because they're basically the law and nothing else. There is no democracy. So there's a whole democracy set. There's some stuff that happens in the Cursed Earth. They've got the epics. They've got the dark judges. You've heard of Judge Death, perhaps. They're back. So they're kind of theming the books bit by bit. So they're not really in a particular order. But this one was first. The story that was first published in the Judge Dredd magazine, I believe. Okay. One of the first stories in that. Gorgeous art. I've read about half of it so far. I sat down on my lunch reading it. And
is it colour or black and white?
Colour. Full colour. All the way through. Some of the other ones, some of the later books may be in black and white because that's how they were printed. The first, I believe, 11 years of Judge Dredd were completely black and white. So it's very possible you're going to get quite a lot of black and white. But it's good black and white.
Well, back when back when 2000 AD was launched, I used to get a comic book. My dad used to bring me a comic book back every week called Star-Lord. And many of the characters from Star-Lord ended up in 2000 AD, but ABC Warriors, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And my memory is like my dad bringing me at home on a Friday night with an old bar that they used to have in Britain like years ago called a Nutty Bar, which would never ever ever happen now. And essentially it was a slab of toffee with peanuts glued all around it, so it looked like some unholy corn on the cob. And literally, my dad could go, there you go, there you go. And I'd shut up for a weekend, and I think part of that was because I couldn't actually open my mouth. I have no idea. I have no idea if kind of... You know what? I just imagine that I must have been trying to work through and almost like having a degree of lever to the majority of this toffee bar. Just like trying to bite some off. I'd be curious to see how the hell it worked, but maybe it was my parents' way of...
Maybe they weren't that bad and they used to jangle it in the fridge first for a bit, just for a trick.
No, heating it all might have been the move, but I don't think it was even vaguely soft toffee either.
Wow.
So, kind of like the toffee that's in the middle of Curly Whirlies.
Yeah.
Kind of imagine that,
but big,
about the size of a door handle.
Oh, see, that sounds good, but that's pretty better because if you have a squishy toffee,
no, it wasn't squishy.
When you're reading a comic and you've got a squishy toffee, you'd worry that you'd smack gauze all over your comic by accident when you're chewing this very delicious toffee. So yeah, the harder toffee is a good idea. But back to Dredd. As a massive fan of Dredd, if I didn't have, as I say, the previously mentioned stack of 18 years worth of it in chronological order, I would be buying this mega collection without even thinking about it.
Because you see,
the first episode, it is £1.99 for Christ's sake.
Because with having been a fan of Star-Lord, but never really following through that much with 2000 AD, I remember as a kid it didn't grab me as much as Star-Lord did. I am curious about this. And even because I went on I'm on the website now, and they're giving away some kind of cool subscriber gifts as well.
Yeah, I know all these off the top of my head because I've read the thing cover to cover. The second week when you pre-order comes with a replica Judge badge. The next week after that you get a thermos flask, I believe. Then it's some tin coasters, some really nice looking tin coasters. There's some bookends on that thing as well, and I have no doubt that those things will continue. And then as you buy the books, the spines go together to make a wonderful Rogues Gallery picture. Well, like a giant grown-up Mr. Men book collection.
Well, according to this, the Judge Dredd badge and the takeaway mug are free with the first delivery. So, considering I couldn't find it in WH Smith's today, that's a decent curiosity. The coasters and a free issue with the second delivery.
Yeah.
And then with the fourth deliveries, that is the bookends, and they've said that if you upgrade your subscription to £1 extra per issue, there's 6 newly commissioned artworks by top Dredd artists, including co-creator Carlos Equator.
Yeah, there's a square. I think there's a Bolland in there as well.
There is a Bolland in there. I love Bolland.
I love my Bolland as well.
Yeah, but you see, my connection to Bolland is that obviously the DC Comics stuff, because I used to be a huge DC nerd, but he did a lot of the Grant Morrison's Animal Man run and his Doom Patrol run, That's where my Bolland is.
I see. My Bolland was always Dredd Bolland.
Yeah,
Bolland was the first. He was the first guy to draw Anderson and Judge Death.
Well, I heard the thing about Bolland these days is that he works, and you wouldn't know this to look at his work, but he works completely digitally, and he's got he's got nothing to sell on. And if he actually had hard copies, like pen and paper hard copies of the stuff that he did, he'd be rolling in it even more than he is now. So.
The balls.
Whoops.
The balls. So yeah, that's what I have been engrossing myself in this week. Judge Dredd Mega Collection. Like I say, even if you've ever had a passing interest, listener, if you had a passing interest in Dredd, it's £2 Like, that book is worth a tenner of anyone's money, without even thinking about it. It's a really good story, and there's a few extra bits chucked in as well, in the book as well. Proper good. And the covers are so gorgeous. They're like really stark black and white with a little flash of red on them as well. Like, It's a gorgeous thing. £2, come on!
For the first one, at least. How much are they going up to after that? Is it about...
First one's £2. Next one's £6, I think. And then the one after that, everything after that is a tenner. But they're still very, very good books. And if you're intrigued, then they're definitely worth a go. And there's, having looked at what's coming, there is some quality stuff on the way.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. So you've piqued my interest, sir.
Oh, try.
Is it every fortnight, or is it going to be
every
monthly?
Fortnight? Once a fortnight. Once a fortnight. So yeah, Dredd. Friend pal, what have you been up to this week?
Well, seeing as we're kind of veering off briefly from video games, I'm going to mention the return of one of my favourite ever TV shows, which is a Japanese show called Fafner.
Who?
And I kind of
isn't he that guy that runs the Playboy?
No.
I'm sorry.
No,
it's been a long day. I don't have good jokes. Go talk. Ignore me.
Fafner was a show that I was curious about years ago because I got into Evangelion, and I like the big robot stuff. I grew up on a degree of Starfleet and Battle of the Planets in a way as well. That's where I kind of fell in love with Japanese cartoons. And Fafner was a show that I heard a lot about years ago, but it had never been released in Blighty, and I must admit I ended up buying some sort of bootleg collection to try it out, which was a pittance on eBay at the time, but I had no idea what I was getting myself in for, but was curious more than anything. And Fafner's sort of set on this island where people, it's like quite a peaceful island. People run shops and the kids go to school. Everything's as you'd expect. But it turns out that kind of a degree of the world has ended, and none of the kids on the island realise it. And as the island is discovered by this alien race, you find out that the kids are all genetically created. All of their parents are actually their parents, the military, who were just born to raise them. They've just been born to be raised by these people, and it's what happens when these kids are thrown into the midst of this alien invasion. It turns out the island moves. There's something underneath the island which is somewhat of a mystery. There's big robots, which is the Fafners, which I think is, if I remember rightly, connected to dragons, I think. It's just brilliant. It really captured my imagination. And there were little quirks in there, like with a mother and father who were high up in the military, obviously sort of making their way as regular parents, and suddenly their child doesn't do particularly well with syncing with a machine or doing what they try to do, and all of a sudden, like, the parents more or less disown this child because it's now affecting their career, and all of these little quirks start kicking in. And the original series was 2005, I think, and not particularly well animated. The US dub in particular is really well scripted for about the first 8 episodes, and then someone else is brought in to flourish it and get it working properly. but it really captured my imagination. And the screenwriter has gone on to much, much bigger things in the years after that. He's recently done the second series of Psycho Pass. He did Marduk Scramble, which you didn't like.
I didn't.
And he's done the kind of prequel Ghost in the Shell Arise, which I've not seen yet. But he's really popular these days. But apparently Fafner's so big in Japan that it's even had like a stage play, which I have no idea how that will work, but want to see it. A few years ago they did a movie which I watched. And most movies, especially if they're set after something else, will go out of their way to try and lead people in and show people what's going on.
Yeah.
Fafner might as well have gone, if you haven't seen the series, you can fuck off. If you have seen the series, you might want to watch it again. It was, in many ways, incomprehensible. Absolutely wonderful. You have to watch it a million times to kind of get any semblance of really what's going on. But the animation's just through the roof. It's like they've taken all the time and technology that's come since, and just everything's just amplified. And a couple of weeks ago they started up a new series of Fafner, which I think is going to be 13 episodes, and it's just absolutely fucking ballpark. The kids that were in the first series are now grown up, and there's a new bunch that are coming through, and part of you's going like, oh, I can't wait to get the old guard back into the Fafners and stuff. But the series has got an incredible score, and they've got the same woman singing the theme songs as they had sort of for the movie and for the TV show. But the show has got the most brilliant battle theme, and they're fucking holding it back in the first two episodes of the series. And I was like,
yeah, you
are holding that back for when the old guard get into the Fafners, aren't you? And I can tell you now, as soon as that kicks in, I'm going to absolutely fall to pieces. I'll just sob onto the chair. And as I mean, the original I thought maybe took a few cues, especially early on from Evangelion, because a lot of things were getting greenlit that were even vaguely similar to that at the time. But in many ways, it's a love letter to Jerry Anderson as well. There's a real kind of Thunderbirds feel to the way that the kids get into the machines, and even like Terrorhawks. And
so are there like big goofy slides and things?
Well, there's one where a kid gets into this pod, and it sort of goes down this tube, and then it comes out the other side, and something attaches to it, and then brings it right the way over here and puts it into the machine, which then folds it up. And I love shit like that. I absolutely love it. And
that's all you had to do was tell me it was a bit like Thunderbirds, and I'm sold.
Well, my friend Pete, that comes over and watches anime at the weekend, was saying that part of the reason that there's so much wonderfully coloured hair in Japanese media is because they fell in love with UFO, Jerry Anderson's UFO, and that was a really big thing over there. It was really impactful on other media. And like I say, as much as it gives sort of a nod and wink, at least initially, to Evangelion, the love letter to Thunderbirds is definitely there. The island has an air of The Prisoner or Twin Peaks about it. And like I say, the early episodes of the first series aren't particularly well scripted. It's not particularly well animated either. But in that initial series, but sometimes when you just get a flavour for something and you're like, I can't put my finger on that, but I love it. It's a little bit like that, and this new series has started so amazingly. And Pete came over last week, and we watched the second episode, and it was the first one with the new theme song on it. And we sort of went through this theme song. We were both looking at each other, going like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And then it finished, and he was like, "Will you play that again?" I was like, I was afraid to say that. So yeah, I've kind of I've fallen back in love with Fafner again. So I've started watching the first series. I dug out that old bootleg box set, and I've started watching the first series in the morning when I'm exercising before work and having my breakfast and stuff. And now I'm watching the new series at weekend. So I'm double in again.
Doubling down in.
Absolutely more.
Cool. Can you find that anywhere? It sounds cool. Where would I find that?
Fafner. I know where to find the new series. Oh, the new series is on Crunchyroll, which probably stands up on its own. Certainly more accessible than the movie was.
I'd rather start with the first season.
But the first season, I don't know, somewhere on the net's gonna hold it. But like I say,
I'll find it somewhere legal.
The script isn't great, and I remember reading forum posts at the time with folks going like, "What's going on with these translations? They're terrible. It's really really badly delivered." But there's still something there, and from the opening moments of the first episode, the battle music kicks in, and it is just one of those things that just stirs your soul. But yeah, like I say, my heart's all over it. But with the leap in technology that you're getting with the movie and with the new series, the designs, what looked like quite unspectacular designs initially for the robots, actually look incredible now. Really, really incredible, and the direction on the new stuff is just gobsmacking.
Thanks, technology.
Yeah. Well, I often have a problem with American movies and television that it's all sort of shaky cams and it's all cuts, whereas anime, even within the biggest action sequences, knows how to frame a shot, knows how to hold a camera and keep it smooth. And I really appreciate that. And it's often like a comic strip. You frame the shot and you let what's going on happen. And there was even a bit the other week which is literally a held camera shot where someone in the distance was working on a computer and they moved their chair and the chair swung round so that they were then facing away from the camera, so they were right next to you, but looking towards the left, and they swung in from the distance, and the camera's slightly tilted, so it sort of almost curved up and towards you when this chair swung round, and I just went, and that's style. Style isn't wobbling around with the camera or cut. It's knowing that you've got the right shot and fucking holding it. And even some of the tracking shots on the action sequences are just held cameras and knowing when to pull back and to flow. It's gorgeous.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm kind of knee deep in the Fafner again.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, speaking of held cameras, it is a really tenuous link, but I'm working.
Go for it.
What I've got. I've been playing Resident Evil this week.
The first one.
The first one.
Would this be the newly released remaster of the GameCube classic, Patrick?
It's funny you say that, but no.
Yeah, I knew this. Go on.
Yeah. I have not even been playing the GameCube classic. I've been playing the original. I've been playing Resident Evil Director's Cut, the PS1 edition, on my Vita.
How's it? I bet that looks quite nice on the Vita screen.
Really, really nice. Like, I found this a lot with PS1 games. Like, they were made. I know it sounds stupid, but it looks like they were made to go on that goddamn Vita screen. Well, they look so good.
I had Resident Evil Deadly Silence on the DS, which was the DS version of the original.
The DS version of the original, yeah.
And that looked great, and it was nice to kind of play that. I'm not really a handheld guy in the modern day, but I really enjoyed sort of playing that in bed.
Yeah, I think it's kind of mad. Like, handheld and horror really shouldn't like go together. I mean, I never really considered Resident Evil like horror. Like, it's a big dumb zombie film. Is what I've always enjoyed about Resident Evil. You've got giant crocodiles and big monsters, and sure, it's dangerous, but it's never like, oh my god, my soul.
Think back to when that was first released.
Oh god, yeah, there was nothing that could touch it.
Yeah, but that seemed like a degree of realism that we'd never seen in games before.
True. We have to think back to the times pre Just add zombies in it. It'll be fine. And like just playing through, it's kind of remarkable just how well it holds up still.
Yeah.
Like the first opening 5 minutes are still really, really rough if you're not ready for it. Literally two chomps and you are done. You're dead. Start again. And obviously, thanks to the wonders of the ink ribbon save system, which I really like. But if you think I'll be fine, I'll save me ink ribbons. I'll save later. Literally, the first corridor you walk into, you're not ready, you die, you have to watch the entire opening cutscene again. Which, again, is not a problem, though, because that opening cutscene is so bad, it's genius. With the ridiculously bad overdubbed voices, the live action running through the forest, going, Chris! And just the hilarious bad dialogue and bad cuts, and Wesker yucking it up in his sunglasses, being all like, yeah.
You see, this was quite the dichotomy with Resident Evil, that they started to take themselves seriously when things were still ridiculous, and they amped up the ridiculousness, but they were taking it very, very seriously. Whereas I kind of wonder what Resident Evil would be like if they'd kept the hokiness of that, because it was almost like a crappy horror film, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but still scary.
Yeah, like the first moment where the zombie in the hallway turns around at you, like little tiny me was like, "Oh God, what does that? No!" I mean, I did play Resi 2 first, but that moment is still a proper good, like, oh dear.
Yeah, the moment with the spiders was a huge one because that freaked the shit out of people. Also, I still remember the last thing that I was expecting when I was running down a corridor that was flooding was to be chased by a baby shark.
Yes. I'm a particular fan, which I've discovered that I really, really like after playing it again. The first time you meet Yawn, the giant snake.
Oh, right, yeah.
Snake in the attic, because you walk in, you're like, there's a snake in there. I can deal with a snake, and it comes in, and it's like bigger than 5 of you. Like, oh, okay, that's the snake he meant. And like, I kind of panicked a bit because it's like, oh my God, I haven't saved in ages, and if I die, I have to go all the way back down there, and then I have to go back to the item box and rearrange all that shit, because like item boxes, you forget how much backwards and forwardsing you did, when you were playing it the first time, because it's been so long, I've forgotten how all these games, are laid out now, and I'm constantly checking the map and running back and forward to the save points and the item boxes, and like, there's so much toing and froing when you've forgotten how to, effortlessly speedrun it. And you're thinking, oh, should I take a handgun? Do I need to bring those bullets? And you really have to think hard about what you're going to take with you, because if you're running around and you find a puzzle piece you need, but you don't have any space, you're fucked.
I mean, there's something to be said for the old save systems, like the typewriters and stuff. And
I still love typewriters. I think they're genius.
The Souls games sort of does it to a degree with the bonfires as well. But my classic example is always the first 2 Tomb Raider games were exceptional. I really, really enjoyed them. But the first one, when you entered an area that you'd not been to before, there was a level of, oh. And you just kind of slowed down and stopped, and you were expecting anything at any point to come out and get you. And
because let's be fair, that game did throw a T-Rex at you.
Yeah, well, you kind of learned that lesson a little bit as you went on, but there was a definite feeling of it being an early 3D world, and it feeling, again, we can put photorealistic eyes that are spoiled from the modern day, but you look back then, we were investing a degree of imagination into a moving world around us, which suddenly seemed more threatening than we'd ever seen before.
Populated by sharp-looking people.
Yeah, and once again, there was that degree of kind of hokey Indiana Jonesness with elements that would make you jump like the T-Rex, or the sheer verticality and the level of vertigo I got with certain stuff, or holding my breath when I was swimming underwater. It was really immersive. But those save points, when you did get to somewhere new and you hadn't seen a save point for a while, there was a real feeling of claustrophobia and fear. And
didn't the original Tomb Raider give you like crystals to
save crystals,
and you had to spend them? Yeah, you had to spend them to save here. You only ever had like one on you at a time.
Yeah, and the second game was a fantastic game. I loved it. But whereas in the first one, if I found that new area, I'd be cautious. In the second one, because I could save anywhere, it would be like, I'd run into a room, start shooting. If I get shot, doesn't matter. I'll save just before it. Or it was like you conditioned yourself to save. And I think there's something to be said for having a degree of fear and investment over losing progress.
Yeah, I personally think this is good. Actually, this is touched on something I've always thought. I always thought the quick load, quick save. You particularly find it in a lot of PC games, like your Half-Lives and that. Your quick load, your quick save. I cannot stand those things. I think they ruin games. I think they take away any sense of panic, any sense of worry, any sense that you've ever done anything of note. If you can just quick save back to the last time, try it again. Oh, fucked up. Quick save back, try it again. Fucked up. And like those games were never designed to be played like that. Like the original Half-Life, or a perfect example. I played a bit of BioShock, the first one, on the Survivor difficulty on the PS3, which is like the super hard mode. And back when I was a trophy junkie, and I thought, I can do that. But I was saving literally every 10 steps. Like, okay, manage that, didn't die. Okay, right, save. And like it became a habit, and like, save, right, I beat that boss pretty well, right, save. I didn't do that too well, I'll reload it and do it again until I do it well and save me ammo. And then like after about an hour I thought, this is shit. I haven't accomplished anything. I actually beat a Big Daddy fight, and I'm ashamed to say this, by saving mid-fight and redoing like little bits. If I'd go over and get hit too bad, I'd reload the save and then keep hitting it with a wrench. I am ashamed to admit I think I may have reloaded somewhere in the region of 30 to 40 times on that one Big Daddy, just so I could get a good run without really using any healing items. And I felt dirty when I'd finished. I was like, I achieved nothing here. I don't have this victory. And then that's when I stopped playing on that difficulty. I didn't feel like I'd done well.
Well, I mean, in the modern day, I'll always refer initially back to Demon Souls, just simply because you had no save points until the boss of each level, and the further you got into that level, it was almost a bit of a play or pass, where you're just thinking, should I just go back and spend these and upgrade them, and is the terrain and the enemies I'm facing, are they getting too much for me? And it would be this sort of power play between curiosity and bravado versus being sensible. And Demon Souls was stunning for just turning the telly up and just listening out for any noise that might give something away.
Classic Resi trick, because the camera angles are set. You've got to listen. You can hear a
but
there's something, but you can never see where.
But how many times with Resi did you sort of hear like even an innocuous like ting 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 of like a rattling window frame or something, and you'd be like, what? I love that. I really love it. But
damn that Foley. And you like the little tricks that you're expecting a scare, and then you think, no, I think I'm safe. I haven't had one for a while, and you calm down, and then it gets you. The goddamn dogs through the goddamn window got me again.
But they've employed this with
Sharted it.
Alien Isolation, haven't they? And it's generally met kind of quite a frosty reception. But again, if you're going into an area that you're not familiar with, you've got that degree of heart in your mouth. You're wandering in there thinking, oh fuck, is that the alien? And not knowing how far your last save point was when you kind of plugged into the computer and logged your progress, and not knowing where the next one is. That I kind of
best part of survival horror, survival.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something that's gone by the wayside a little bit, I think.
So yeah, but yeah, no, it's really nice playing it in. It feels, it's going to sound really stupid, but this 20-year-old game that I've been playing this week, it feels fresh. It doesn't feel old. It feels fresh still, and I don't know why.
Are you tempted by the new one?
I'm getting it. Don't worry about that. It's happening. My wife will not let me not get it. We're going to buy it at the weekend over the PSN 10% off sale, because why not?
Now you say in the last show, I did say, well, I don't think we're going to go for that really, because I've still got the Evil Villain to play, and it's Mikami, and it's fresh. And then PlayStation announced this week with the discount, and I'm like,
oh, there goes Makesh.
And I've got so much that's coming up that I want to play in the next number of months, and I've got a number of things on the go which maybe I've been neglecting, because when I was just throwing myself wholeheartedly into Assassin's Creed Unity, it was great. I felt really, really immersed. And then on Christmas Day I started playing Dragon Age Origins, and I enjoyed it, but I kind of felt separated. And my favourite gaming experiences now are when I completely invest in an experience. So, yeah, I think we may well be talking about the HD remaster of Resident Evil next episode.
So watch this space, because that's probably happening.
So addendum.
Cool. So yeah. So what else have you been? What have you been playing this week?
Well, actually, I'm gonna follow through on the end.
Don't follow through.
On the end of that, with regards to addendums to our most anticipated for next year.
Do another addend the addendum.
Okay, one of my top 10, one of my top 5.
Ooh.
From the last episode, one of my top 5 anticipated games from this year, I'm no longer getting.
Oh.
Rock gasp. This is kind of a big deal, but it's
right,
taking me a bit left to centre.
I'm confused, but
I need the echo of a coffee cup for this one. I don't know
God! Is it Foley time again?
I don't know where the cardboard box. Hold on, I've got spare box of cornflakes.
Oh,
right, because
are there cornflakes in it? This is important.
There are cornflakes in it, but I buy numerous boxes of cornflakes because I have kitchen cornflakes and I have living room cornflakes.
Of course you do.
Right, there's a reason behind this. You pour a bowl of cornflakes in the kitchen.
Right.
Right, and you add the milk. You bring them into the living room. You get to the point where there's quite a chunk of milk left, and the cornflakes are submerged. And cornflakes are always nice when they're kind of nestling on top of one another and lazing around in that milk. What happens? Do you go all the way back to the kitchen with the bowl to add a little bit more cornflakes, or do you have living room cornflakes?
What? You just tip the bowl up and enter it all into your mouth?
No. You reach for the living room cornflakes that are by your couch, and you just simply, hey Foley, you just add them into the bowl. Living room cornflakes.
Wow.
Here's a concept.
I feel like you've just made $1 million.
Right. Let's rewind.
Okay. So
right.
So what game from your top 5? You're not buying it. Why would that be?
One of my top 5. One of my top 3.
What?
Of this year, I'm no longer getting. Cornflake box, are ready?
Go for it.
I'm not getting Monster Hunter 4.
Wow, and let me just say that did not make a damn bit of difference on the sound. It just sounded like you.
Yeah, it's quite a moist cardboard. It's not particularly echoey.
You should add some milk or something. Do you have any living room milk to add? Perhaps
you were going to say. I think you should get the box from last time, but I don't know.
Get the kitchen cornflakes. They might sound better. No. Monster Hunter 4. Why are you not getting it?
Right. So last show I mentioned how much I was looking forward to the game.
Yep.
I played the game.
This is a 3DS one, right? Because I get these confused all the time.
Yeah, the Monster Hunter 4 is 3DS only.
Okay.
So I mentioned how much I was looking forward to the game. I played the demo after the Nintendo Direct. I sunk 250 hours into the Wii U version of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.
God, I thought you were going to say demo then.
No. How would I have sunk 250 hours into the demo?
10 days?
Let's move on, shall we?
Moving on.
So what happened? And the answer is Taukaden Kiwami.
I'm sorry, you didn't say words there. Say that again.
Right, I'll continue. So I had a very
shush. Okay. Taukaden what?
Taukaden Kiwami. Now I had a very brief foray into the original Taukaden, which was released last year on Vita.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you now.
It was on my list of games I wished I'd had more time with.
Yeah.
Taukaden Kiwami is an upgrade of the original game, which features the original game and another chunk, the same size of the original game, glued on top. So you've got guns in there as well as knives, probably other chop sucky stuff, undoubtedly costumes and etc. etc. etc.
Yeah.
But why? But why?
It's just like the idea of selling it that it's got a gun in it.
Well, it's got like. With Monster Hunter, you've got like things like the gun lance and stuff. But I saw the demo of Taukaden Kiwami a while back, and it got sort of actual like muskets and stuff. It looked really, really cool, and so like I say, I watched that demo stuff a while ago and went, oh, okay, but. Why Taukaden Kiwami, especially when I've got love with Monster Hunter 4, and the reason is Taukaden Kiwami was announced on PlayStation 4.
What?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
Yeah, it's coming out on Vita and PlayStation 4, and there's this cross save between the two. I much prefer gaming on the big telly than handhelds, which is the main reason I fancy a PlayStation TV, so I can play things like Soul Sacrifice on there and stuff. And that considered, I feel like I know Monster Hunter, and I've ploughed enough hours into 3 to know I've got loads of that game left to rinse, should I want to. But I really didn't get near Taukaden, the original. I like the idea of ancient Japan versus sort of demonic monsters, and my time with the original heralded sort of a really deep combat system. I mentioned last time that it was one I had fun delving into the complexities, even in the tutorials before I tried new weapons, and when I came back to it time after time, because it wasn't as if the weapons controlled in the same way. They had completely different move sets, different abilities, different button combinations. It was wonderfully complex, and I kind of I fancy exploring that deeper. I want to play it on the big telly, but also I really want to support the release, because it's, with Nintendo taking a step back from Nintendo and Capcom rather taking a step back from the Wii U. With Monster Hunter 4, I like that that Koei Tecmo is actually doing this for the PlayStation 4, because the initial screenshots are fantastic.
I've just been googling them.
Yeah, they're really beautiful, and the interesting thing is that it comes out in the week between Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2.
Oh, for God's
Scholar
sake!
Of the First
It's
Sin.
going to be one of those goddamn weeks again.
So on the one hand, expensive month, but with Monster Hunter now cancelled, that's 30 odd quid towards Taukaden Kiwami, but it looks awesome. It just looks awesome, and I just feel that the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, I really want to have a pop at that, and I think Gadget Girl Kylie's all over it day one as well. So
neat. Do you know it's got like Vita PS4 crossplay at all, or because that would be cool.
I think it has got crossplay. Yeah, I know it's got cross saves. It's not got cross buy, but the PS4 version is getting a physical release, which is kind of cool. So it's not just download only, but I want to support it, and it looks like I like monster hunting type games, but it looks like something that I've not got on the next gen consoles, particularly.
Well, nothing like that out really. I mean, apart from Monster Hunter on the Wii.
Yeah,
that's
but
it, isn't it? Really, there's nothing comparable on the console.
Apparently, Koei Tecmo are going to be showing off a PlayStation 4 version in a couple of weeks, specifically. But those original screenshots, I really like, and can't wait to see it moving, because it should move quick as fuck. I mean, it ran really well on the Vita, and like I say, there was a game there on the Vita, a really deep, brilliant game, gorgeous cutscenes. Like I say, the combat mechanics were wonderfully, wonderfully complex. It wasn't like, oh, I've been playing with knives, I can switch out to a sword, and oh, that's the equivalent of that, that's the equivalent of that, that's the equivalent of that. No, 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 sir. No. Every single weapon set plays completely and utterly differently. And I'm all over that like it's made of ham.
Neat.
So yeah,
sounds cool.
Bit of a surprise, but it's something that, I mean, I know you are saving for a house at the moment and stuff, and it's going to be a point where we're going to have Dark Souls 2 and we're going to have Bloodborne. But I would fucking love to play this game with you, man. I would absolutely love it, because the thought of taking down demons and demonic sort of monsters in ancient Japan would just be double cool.
Could we make stupid voices?
Of course we can.
Sold.
Yep.
Oh, no, the most important question. Can you dress up all fancy like?
Yeah, there's lots of really daft costumes.
Sold.
And I believe in Japan they even did the thing where between Soul Sacrifice, Freedom Wars and Taukaden, they had free DLC between all three games with costumes from all three games. I really like that. I think that's really cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, more of that,
neat.
Please, games. More of that. But what do you think to those screens they've put up?
Look very nice, don't they?
They do. They really do.
Look all right, and it's like, you know, sort of thing like you say. You can just pop on for a bit and just chill back and hunt some dudes.
Yeah, I'm up for that. But like I say, hopefully, if it's a success, Koei Tecmo will not only make more games like that, but will also bring more of them to next-gen consoles and bring them over to the West. And there's a lot of reasons for throwing your oar into that. So yeah, look into it and all that. Plus, nearer to the time, it'd be awesome to get listeners, friends, all that sort of stuff, just chopping into this shit together, because there's a big online component as well to it.
Should be. Ooh, nice. Cool. So when's that due-ish?
It's Bloodborne is March 27th.
Yeah.
I think Taukaden Kiwami is the week after that, and then Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is the week after that. It's crazy.
God, why can't they just spread them out a little bit better? Like, it's going to be an expensive month.
I mean, I was quite glad today, because I was reminded by somebody that we don't have to pay council tax in January and February. So I was like, okay, and I had a little bit of extra money coming in from Christmas hours. So when I got my pay slip today, it was about 100 quid up on what I normally come out with. So part of me was like, that's Bloodborne and a bit of something else. So with it being, you know, having a couple of paydays in advance of those games coming out, hopefully it stands me in good stead to be able to pick them up. But hopefully it makes for really good shows in the future as well, because we'll be bouncing up and down about all manner of stuff.
We're going to be busy, aren't we? Yeah.
Plus, it looks like, and this has kind of got to be confirmed a little bit, but it looks like I might be doing some interviews for a Bloodborne podcast at a Bloodborne lock-in at a video game store in February. So that should be kind of cool. So it's got to be confirmed yet, but
roving reporter.
Yeah, it's just, that's going to be really neat to talk to people and see how excited they are and see what they make of the game and stuff, and sort of add to that hype for Bloodborne launching. So
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It'll be good, because it'll be a way of getting me off the thing that I've spent most of my gaming hours this week doing.
Which is?
Do you know what the thing I spent... It's not playing games, really. Not really. I got given WWE 2K15 for Christmas by my boss. And I've always liked wrestling. I kind of go on and off with it every now and again. And I got in the mood to play another WrestleMan game. And I said, I'll have that for Christmas. And he got me the latest one. I have now spent approximately 10 times more time making characters than I have actually wrestling.
So you've done some Dark Souls stuff, haven't you, on it?
Yes, I've made a Solaire
Uh-huh.
with a curly, bright orange, sort of bright yellowy coloured hair because I couldn't find a helmet that I liked. So I've made a Solaire and I've given him moves. I've given him a bunch of spears. You see, because he does spears.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way, sir.
Yep, and it's also got this really cool mechanic which has been in for a while, but you can basically select a couple of words. So when you get announced, so making his way to the ring from parts unknown, and it goes sunlight, brother.
Cool.
Because there aren't all the words there. Interestingly enough, caffeine is in there, so
that makes me happy.
right.
That would all I'd need to. I tell you what you need to do.
Do it. What?
If I was creating a wrestler for that, and you've got announce your wrestler.
Yeah.
Go on then, announce him, Sunlight Brother.
Okay, making his way to the ring, weighing 200 pounds, Sunlight Brother.
Making his way to the ring, caffeine.
Interestingly enough, that is one of the words you can make him say.
Mr.
Yeah, I've been making a hell of a lot of Wrestlemans. I also last night and spent somewhere in the region of 2 hours. 2 hours of my life. I've made a Capra demon.
Okay.
With a big dumb mask, and I've kind of extended all his limbs and made him all long and gangly. And I've also made him 2 midget men with dog masks. And I've made them into a proper team, and they have a proper team animation, and they all come down together. And I tried a 3-on-1 match against one poor guy, and they utterly wrecked him, and it was the funniest thing. It was just like watching someone do the Capra Demon for the first time, but with power slams. Yeah, I am going to be making a hell of a lot more people because it remains funny. And as long as it remains funny, I'm going to keep doing it. And then you can watch the AI fight each other, which is quite entertaining, if I've got to be honest. The wrestling in it is okay, but it's more fun watching them do it and see who wins.
I was going to say, didn't it get kind of middling to bad reviews, the game?
It did. It's not the best wrestling game I've played in a while, and there's still a few mechanics that surprise me. And I really hate that the AI are ridiculously good at reversing. So you'll go to punch them and they'll go, huh, catch, spin, drop you on your head. And then you think, okay, fine, well, I'm going to try and drop him on his head. So you grab them and they go, huh, reverse, drop you back on your own head again. Like, oh, leave me alone. And then the moment you manage to reverse them, you're like, haha, I caught your hand. And you got to punch them back, and then they catch your hand back, and then they drop you on your head. They're very good at reversing, and there is a setting, thank God, you can turn that down. I'm still getting reversed an awful lot, but I'm more invested in watching them fight. To the point where it looks like there's an editing mode in the PS3 version anyway. You can make your own wrestling rings, your own kind of like logo. I believe you can make your own brand of wrestling as well. So you've got you've got like your Raw and your SmackDown. You can make your own wrestling brand. So depending how much free time I have, I may be making a full Dark Souls Championship Wrestling.
Yes. You have to record this for the channel.
It's going to happen at some point.
This is great.
I've got so many ideas. Like I've got a list. The Gaping Dragon is going to be tough. I'll give you that. But yeah, I need to kind of get away from that because literally I've spent somewhere in the region of 10 to 12 hours just making WrestleMans.
Yeah, but that's fun, and
it's funny. Yeah, but I'm like, I could have been actually playing a game right now.
Yeah, but you've got resonance with wrestling anyway, haven't you?
Oh, always, yeah. And like picking the special moves is always kind of funny as well. Like, now what would Solaire do? What taunts would he have? And I just find the one that's most like praise the sun. Arms wide, arms up. I found one. I did find one. It's pretty good. It's pretty decent. But yeah, that's been my basic like. Other than Resi, that's all I've done is make WrestleMans. And so watch this space because there may be Dark Souls Wrestling coming soon. And I'm sorry in advance.
I'm going to have to turn the fire up because I am freezing. Moving away from the microphone, which is always attractive.
He's not moved away. You've just put your head in the box again. You're pretending, aren't you?
Yeah.
Master of Foley!
Yeah, place my head in Living Room Cornflakes. After introducing the concept, I've become Inception.
The concept of Living Room Cornflakes.
And then inserting my head into Living Room Cornflakes. It's like a form of Inception, but not boring. So I've been back on Desters in brand new ways.
Okay.
So my friend Ellie runs agirlandhergames.com. She's a really talented writer, and she's double passionate about video games, and she's flat out one of my favourite people to spend time with. We never co-opted a game, and I'd been raving about Destiny, and I mean I'd taken the warlock that you and I played with close to level 31, but fancied starting a new character alongside Ellie, where she and I can do as you and I did, sort of chew the fat, chat the shite, shoot the mans in the face. So
shoot the mans.
Yeah. So Ellie went with a hunter, all bright pink face and even brighter purple hair. I kind of went with a hunky chunky robot man this time that looks a little bit like the oldie DC character, the Red Tornado.
I know him.
Yep. So on the one hand, it's kind of ace to get back to point one of Destiny, to bring back the fear. Unable to be the jumpy, super powerful bullet sponge that I've become with my warlock. Instead, it's relying on wits and blind panic at the minute. But it's fabulous to relive the game through somebody else as they're playing for the first time, though, as well. It's a reminder of the first time I played through it and we played through it, and hear that enthusiasm and addiction sort of fill their exclamation, along with some very, very sweary words. It has to be said. Especially, and the increasing variance when, say, that person is eating a bag of skips and says, "That's just like Dead Space," and you know that Skip's bits are shattering across her living room, or with a mouthful of Smarties going, "Oh my god!" So, yeah, but it's fun, and seeing them understand the leveling up, the new areas, staring at the sky, taking the pictures, future fashions, all of that sort of stuff, and standing.
Hold still, I'm dancing in front of the moon. Let me just get a quick picture.
Standing in front of a big fan. So yeah, I've kind of started in on a Titan for this run. Ellie's running Hunter, and it's just been fun to get back to that initial mode, and I still fucking love that game.
What's your new bro up to? How far are you in?
We're up to level 10 thus far.
It's not bad.
But we've done that more or less in a week, I think. So doing like we did, just leveling up a little bit. Leveling the difficulty a little bit higher than our rating, but yeah.
Well, that's the game, really, isn't it? That's the proper game right there.
But she's gone with hand cannons. I've kind of settled in with scout rifles again, so I haven't really gone beyond my comfort zone on that one much.
Hand cannons, baby. That's the one shot, one kill.
Yep.
In the face.
So yeah, it's just cool, but it takes you out of your comfort zone when you do start with a different class, because all my overpowered warlock grenades and pushes and all that sort of stuff. I'm now trying to get used to doing wrestling super slams, which hasn't quite clicked in the same way with me yet. But I'm enjoying throwing down grenades which confuse enemies. That's kind of cool.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah. But yeah, still love Desters, and so I've been playing that with Ellie as well.
Yeah, I mean, I must confess, I've not been on Desters for very, very long. It's time and energy and all that stuff. I want you back
on Desters, because, I mean, on the one hand, we are starving ourselves of interaction before we have this conversation.
Because we accidentally kind of talk about things and then have to say, shut up later.
If we weren't recording this, we'd just talk this sort of shit at each other anyway. So thanks for listening.
Thanks everyone. Thanks listeners.
I do miss you on Desters. So, I enjoy the run around and the shooty bangs and the men fall down. And
because my man's only my only man is 26, level 26. That's it.
Yeah, but you haven't done the raid
nothing
yet.
In the grand scheme. I know I haven't, because I'm scared of it.
I'm back over here because I switched the fire up instead of turning it up.
Back into the Foley. There we go.
There's 2 buttons.
Oh. Wow. I do want to get back into it. It's just a matter of having an evening free and,
Oh, come on.
When you're about. Well, next time you're about and I'm on, we'll jump in and we'll shoot Alien.
Because also, with raid stuff, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of folks that I mean, I went through a raid with a number of folks who generally run through it with people of equal ability, and it's not often they sort of they take newbies through, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm now at the point where I've kind of leveled up my character as much as I can without doing raids, and yet aside from those people that sort of raid with one another, I'm kind of in this zone now where it sounds really sad. I ain't got anybody else to play with. So yeah, and you know, like I say, I miss you from the game and stuff, but I kind of I'd like us to reach that level together because we've done the other stuff together as well.
Well, yeah. Next time we're on, it's a date.
Yes.
That came out weird. It's a date.
It's always wasn't it the ebullient James Carter who said that he imagines that everybody that has a podcast live together, and I just imagine as like an Eric and Ernie, just like in sort of matching pajamas, sort of.
So that Kane and Rince show, that must be a big house. Wow.
Yeah, he's not like into that, but I just imagine this as like an Eric and Ernie, like matching pajamas, different sides of the bed.
I imagine this as a Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, that would also work.
Yeah.
Sadly, you could probably fit us into that vision of which one fits each particular role really fucking easily without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Moving on.
I don't have anything else for this week. I've been a hermit. Any other business?
Yeah, I kind of haven't been playing much games other than Destas, but I'm watching bollock loads of Twitch at the minute. For all of Microsoft's sort of big telly pitch on the Xbox One, which was rightly shouted down by most folks, I'm watching and not playing a huge amount on that console at the minute. Used to watch YouTube when working out, eating breakfast, dinner, all that kind of gubbins. But was kind of a slave to whatever those channels had put up on any particular day, or going searching for stuff. And I previously delved into Twitch with odd streams from Video Gamer as well as Tamor Hussein's run-throughs of the Dark Souls 2 games. But of late it's been kind of a nice way of seeing if certain games are my cup of joe, if you will. There's somebody called The Pixel, who I found via Dragon Age Inquisition on there, and the stuff I saw convinced me that I was good for that game. But I also found an amazing lady. She's really funny. She's really courteous. People in the chat are really cool, and stuck around and favorited that as well as a number of other channels and stuff. And it's kind of nice to go, oh right, you're on. I'll see how you are. I'll see what you're playing. I'll see how far you are in with that. She streamed a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition. She put Shadow Mordor on Sunday night as well, which I've got but not played. But didn't.
God, get in that.
But didn't kind of realise it was as pretty as it was.
Isn't it?
Because you remember what I said. I didn't really want to get into Mordor when I'm into Unity.
Yeah.
Because
you don't want to spread that kind of game. You don't want to do too many of those at once because they can
bleed into one another, and you don't get a satisfying. I don't know. You don't get a satisfying playthrough from either way because they just blend in. So
you want to mix those sort of things up.
So elsewhere I've watched a lot of folks playing Souls stuff as well. Most of which were equally fun to watch play the game. Their interesting interactions with the folks watching as well. But sort of tying into Ellie and Destiny, it's been really cool to see certain streamers experience Dark Souls for the very first time. Like when when you're watching somebody,
it's mad that still happens, isn't it?
But it's great. I mean,
it's good.
When you're seeing somebody going into an area and you're going, oh, I remember this, and then you look at the fear on their face, and part of you in the back of your head goes, yeah, but wait till they get around the next corner, and then they do, and they freak out, and it's not some sort of preconditioned, sort of pre-planned PewDiePie-ish sort of thing. It's genuine shock because it mirrors the way that you felt the first time you played it. So that's been double cool as well. And also, I mean, seeing people that are way better at the game than I am. There's a lady called who goes under her name's Mixie, but she goes under the name of Flamingo Fuchsia on Twitch, and she did a no death run on Dark Souls, and if I recall correctly, she made it through to NG plus before she died.
What?
Midway through NG plus, which is just big time skills.
I don't understand how a human does that.
Also, they had those charity speed runs on there recently.
Oh yeah. The awesome games done quick.
Yeah, they had 2 people doing Souls ones. They had one guy who finished Dark Souls 2 in just over an hour.
How?
Which was like just astonishing, like an all bosses speed run. And they had another guy who did a glitch run of Dark Souls 2, and these were glitches that were patched out in later versions. But he was doing the thing whereby if you jump towards the binoculars and then you bring the binoculars close and then roll, you move into a speed which is far faster than walking.
Yeah, I've seen that. And then you can jump on the geometry that doesn't exist outside the level and just run around areas.
And he finished Dark Souls 2 in 22 minutes.
Insane.
It was amazing, but I don't know how you remember where all of that stuff is, because it was just mad. It was like, right, if I do this and I hit an enemy and they fall on the floor and then I roll into them, I can run up to here and I can jump, and then it was just like this big green blob that we're running into distance, and he's in Huntsman's Corpse.
Yeah.
And it was but it was really cool, and I think they raised over £1 million for
they did
for charity as well. So yeah, that was kind of neat. I've watched quite a bit of that as well. So yes,
nifty. Okay. Well. While we're on watching other people play games, just a quick one. This one, a channel I really like. The Two Best Friends Play. My favourite YouTube channel. They're a bit zany, but it seems like honest zany. They're just friends laughing with each other when they play games.
I think it takes a little while to get into the mindset of their.
Oh, it does. I think because I've been in there since the start.
Their chemistry, because I watched a bit of their Dark Souls 2 stuff recently in the Crown of the Iron King, or one of the DLC areas, and I hadn't particularly clicked with them before, but when I started watching this and it went further and further on, I kind of got them.
Yeah, like that playthrough of Dark Souls 2 is really good. Like from the start, that was great because the guy playing Wooly had played a little bit of a mage run, but like hadn't played any melee at all. And he was sitting there with Pat, who's the ginger one, who's he's my favourite.
Oh, there we go.
Would you believe?
Yeah.
And was playing with him, and he was sort of teaching him how to do it. Saying drop your shield, look out, don't forget drop your shield. Remember, drop your shield. Drop your shield. You know what I mean? And like, it's got to the point where there are like people who made image macros of just the phrase "drop your shield." Just it's all he would say for like an hour. Really good watch as well. Like really, again, because Wooly's playing it basically new. Because a magic run is not a melee run.
Yeah.
And it's a very different game up close, and it's really fun watching him get the rhythm, get used to it, and then sort of become a sort of flourishing monster of a man. But sidetrack, they are also playing at the moment. The original, the Silent Hill 2, they are playing.
All right, cool.
A Silent Hill game they said they'd never do because they only seem to full Let's Play the bad ones. Well, the worst ones anyway. And they're playing Silent Hill 2, and they're giving it the respect it deserves as well. They're shutting up for the cutscenes, letting them play out, and it's been a really nice watch actually. Going up in about half an hour chunks, up to about part 5 at the moment, and it's really cool watching them play like an old game, and because Pat's not quite remembering where things are as well, so there's quite a bit of wandering around and legitimately getting scared by stuff. It's been a really good little watch.
Because I think you said to me when you prefaced this a little bit earlier on in the week, where it'd be interesting to see how the internet reacted to Pyramid Head raping those dummies at the start, and see how people knee-jerked at that, and without having finished the game to see the mature context that the whole thing is delivered in. Because it's amazing thinking about the themes of that game and the time that it was released in.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff they're bringing up, I mean, it's stuff that never occurred to me when I played, because I haven't played it for a long time, but when I was younger me, you know, I was, 16, 17, 18-year-old me, who was, I'll be honest, a bit dumb. I didn't get a lot of the symbolism in it. I just thought it was a game about scary, spooky monsters. And then only, later on, you read these things, you watch it again and think, oh God, yeah, that's about that, isn't it? And, you really sort of think, oh wow, this is a well-crafted piece of art, isn't it? And it's been good watching it without having to say it sounds stupid, without having to sort of put yourself through the psychological mindset of playing it all over again. It's having two guys who know their stuff talking about it, and it's been informative as well as entertaining, and that's all you can ask for in a video.
Because the guitarist in my last band, that was her favourite game of all time, and she even bought me a copy on PS2 that I didn't really play that deep into. I think because they'd announced the HD collection, which ended up being broken as fuck. I was like, right, I'll hang in for that. But I picked it up on the original Xbox, which I think was a prettier version of the PlayStation 2.
I think it's prettier, but the fog's not as good.
I don't know.
The fog's always the thing that's why the HD collection was broken, because the fog was so bad.
No, I don't mean that. I mean the original Xbox version.
Ah, right.
Which I think was I think it's supposed to be the best version of it. But I picked that up for £2 with the. When I started cracking into Burnout and Burnout 2 again and falling in love with those all over again. That was one of the games that I was going to line up with. I was going to try and get. There were 2 From Software games that I was trying to get, and I got the sequel, but didn't get the Otogi. That was it.
Okay.
I was gonna line those up at the same time, but ended up moving on to other stuff, and I think ending up, rather than delving into yesteryear, kind of ended up luckily getting my PS4 and Xbox One. So sadly, ignored those for the time being. But it is something that I'd like to get the full experience out of, because what I have played scared the living daylights out of me. Genuinely disturbed me.
It really is. It's a proper get in your head kind of game as well. I mean, like I say, I played it when I was dumb, but it still got me. Like, it still fucked me up proper. And the bonus expansion part with it as well, the part you play as Maria, is equally as kind of. Obviously, it's not quite up to the standard of the full game, but it's a very good addition. It's a good addition. Very, very good. But yeah, no, Silent Hill 2, man. Fucking what a game. And what a pleasure to watch people actually, take the time to respect it as well.
Well,
yeah, so that's all I've got this week.
Well, I think.
There was something else I wanted to talk about, wasn't there?
There is. I want to say goodbye to one of the greatest podcasts ever, and certainly one of the greatest podcasts that's currently been running, which is as Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite playlist hit its very last episode last week, wasn't it? It
did, yeah, and I'm still slowly working through that at the moment. I kind of work through the shows on my half an hour walk to work, and this one's taken a little longer because it's 5.5 hours long. Well,
for those that haven't listened, both Chet Roivas and John Denton each gave their top 10 games that they've been playing that week. Not only did they both like one another, and it felt like a conversation they'd have regardless of whether others were listening or not.
Yep.
They were wonderfully positive, passionate and enthusiastic about games, beyond the bollocks of most of the major sites. And those gents would find games. They'd tip the hat towards stuff that no one else was covering. Else the coverage on the show will be so wonderfully informed and honest and articulate and eloquent, and genuinely funny at times. It made for essential listening, and Friday was Chet and John. That's just the way it was. Friday was Chet and John, and they, the standout for me during the run was there were 2 in particular. There was Killer is Dead, where Matt Lees had sort of battered the game for its sexual content, and Chet just went for it, just saying how that was one of the worst pieces of journalism he's ever heard, defended the right to make this sort of game, saying that it made me look elsewhere to find out more about the game, and that Suda51, rather than his career being finished by the game, that he tried to take the reprehensible James Bond shag-around bastard, boil it down to its lowest common denominator, and then build a game around it. And I know you didn't like the game.
Oh God, I thought it was wank because it was wank. Like, you have my copy. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I don't even want it in the house anymore. I gave it to you.
But between sort of Matt Lees on the one hand and Chat on the other, I wanted my own opinion on it, and that's why I asked you if I could get your copy. And I personally really liked it. I found a really quirky Japanese noir thriller that just seemed really ethereal and really left of centre, and a little bit Twin Peaksy and really sinister and really horrible, and stuff like the Alice in Wonderland overtones, and the Escher room where you were walking upstairs to different doors, and then all of those stairs folding into a piano staircase where you were going like dun 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 dun. It made me want to have my own opinion, and for somebody to be, again, that impassioned and that fueled by positivity, that was really inspirational to me, and it made me want to know where I stand rather than building a Wicker Man based on what other people have said.
What a strangely divisive game for that as well. I mean, like you say, even between us, I mean, you really like it, and I just, like I said, I thought it was wank.
Yeah.
Just did not get on with it at all. You know,
I think sometimes you bring different
tits and boob stuff aside. I just thought it was terrible.
I think sometimes you bring different stuff to the table, and you end up getting more out of a game from the things that you've been influenced by with books or movies, or you know, those sort of things can, in fact, you know, in the same way as I was talking about Infamous Second Son, and, you know, my background with Seattle and the music of the area and all that kind of stuff. That's really interesting, but it's one of those things that, even aside from Chat and John, has made listening to countless Game of the Year shows really interesting, because you know, people have liked wildly different games over the year, but hearing folks talk, you know, really passionately about why they've liked them, or times that they've had, or things that have happened, you know, the little stories that exist within the frame, that's really cool. I adore that. Do you remember the episode with the of Chet and John with the Shadow of Mordor stuff on there?
Yes.
Check this out. This is isolated on the on Chet and John's YouTube, so do check it out. The whole thing is on there with visuals, but it's just wonderful, where they absolutely lay into Chris Plant's wank article on Polygon comparing was it something like comparing abusing orcs to racial abuse or something?
There was one like that, and there was another article that was about the tutorial to stealth kill was the same as giving your wife a kiss, and that was apparently reprehensibly awful. And
there was something like, seriously, that's the way you think you need to leave the house?
Yeah. It's like people had forgotten how to be people.
That was it. And it was just, it was so funny. And even recently, when they were reviewing the crew, and Chet was slating it, but there was a bit where he was trying to tell you how bad the story was, and he just broke into this triad accent, and it was amazing. It was so funny. It was just like, why are you not doing? It was just, and John.
You can hear John giggling in the background.
John pissed himself laughing. But yeah, the final episode is about 5.5 hours long. They each give their top 3 of the week this week rather than top 10.
Yeah.
Their favourite games of all time. And they answer listener questions, all of them, even yours, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, mine's in there.
and
Did
slowly...
you ask a question? I've not got
I
there
didn't.
yet.
I kind of saw it afterwards. I think when they first put out the pitch for questions, I was at work and I was on lunch, and I was like, right, I'll do that when I get home, and I missed the second one again. But yeah, throughout all of that, they slowly get drunk, and you find out more about them as people and about their friendship and what they're doing beyond this, why they're walking away from it, and it's just a wonderful listen. People that I genuinely trust, and the UK podcasting scene in particular, I think it shows the same sort of just the brilliant warm hues that made me fall in love with video games in the first place, with magazines like Zap 64 and people like Julian Rignall, and I love games, and I love listening to people or watching people talking passionately about games. But sometimes with the big sites, it comes across as, I'm getting paid a monthly wage, I've got to do something. Whereas I like people that want to tell me stuff, they're excited to tell me stuff, and kind of make me want to go, oh, that sounds really cool. Or, you live within their adventures in the games, and that's, I don't know, that still really warms me. So, I mean, I know they won't listen to this and stuff, but, putting it out into the ether, just thank you, gents. You've been amazing.
I mean, I came to them quite late myself. Can't remember when, but I think you were talking again. The way you do, you tell me to do something for like 3 months, and then I'll do it and go, oh, "That's quite good, wasn't it?" Like I'm doing with Brooklyn Nine-Nine right now. You've been telling me to watch that for months and months. Anyway,
Prentice Penny's an amazing screenwriter.
I've started noticing that.
I
came to Chet and John's kind of quite late, so I kind of missed a lot of the early ones, and I did try and go back and listen to a lot of the old ones as well, and I did work my way through a fair chunk of them, sort of going backwards in reverse order. But yeah, like it was Friday was Chet and John's. Friday is Chet and John's day. That was Friday. And you could kind of tell towards the end, John did sound tired. And while they still put the podcast on, it was still good shows. You could hear him getting a little tired.
That's a huge amount of pressure though, to find 10 games and have a freelance journalism job at the same time.
But like when
providing
you hear the
for your
context,
family and stuff.
Yeah, but when you hear the context of why they were shutting it down, fair enough. You can't argue with it at all. They've got families to provide for now, and games writing isn't necessarily where the big money comes from. And it's like I say, the pressures of having to find 10 games a week to talk about. I can barely find 2 games a week to talk about, and I have like a fair amount of the free time. I don't have a child, I just go to work and come home and we do this. So I don't know where I'd find the time to play 10, and it's a heroic effort to manage that for so long as well. Like, I was always surprised they kept it up as long, managed to keep doing it as well as they did, because could have easily talked about the same 10 games every week and been done with it, but they really went out of their way to find other new stuff, and it was always a good listen to find, like you say, to discover games you wouldn't normally have tried. And even if you found them wank, you still would have given them a go. Yeah,
but that wasn't the case a lot of the time. I mean, there were the silver dollar games that they'd highlight on Xbox Live, which were really experimental games, and as many came off as didn't, but they were fascinated at seeing people make games that quickly and explore so many different themes and types and stuff. But
mechanics, ideas, that sort of thing.
They put me onto games like The Useful Dead and Bleed, I think it was, which was really cool. Amazing Princess Sarah. There was a game that they found recently which was a little bit like Rez, which looked really, really cool. And they were actively going out and trying to find these games rather than doing the big site bullshit of just sitting back, seeing what falls in your lap and what you're going to trot out today for your monthly wage. And that's why I love them. And they, not just that, they put that stuff on YouTube so you could see some visuals alongside it, and you get some ace stuff like My Week in Batters.
Oh my god, My Week in Batters was one of the best things on YouTube.
I just like to state that I have no interest in Battlefield 4 whatsoever. But My Week in Batters was Chet Roy versus adventures in Battlefield 4, and it did coin the phrase that we used in Destiny a lot, which was
in the face.
Yep. So yeah, they're just fucking amazing. Go to put Chet and John's in Google and go and find some of those old episodes and have a look on YouTube as well. But that Shadow and Mordor one on YouTube in particular is just a peach.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm really sad to see him go. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do on Fridays now. I was a little bit torn up, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thanks, guys. You're not probably going to listen to this, but you know, well done.
Well, I mean,
in the least patronising way I can.
Before we go, I mean, to give a tip of the hat to another podcast, which is an awesome listen, is Midnight Resistance Very Good 2014. We've mentioned before that Midnight Resistance is the podcast that made us want to start this in the first place. And every year they do an episode which is over multiple hours where they will go month by month with every single game released that month and go through every month in the year. And this time they had Sean Bell from Midnight Resistance, Leon and Josh from Kane and Rinse, Joe Screbbles from Chat Very Good, and Chris Pan from Recycle Bin. It was 7.5 hours long.
Christ.
It's fucking brilliant. It's just, please, if you're thinking I would never listen to a 7.5 hour podcast, you're wrong. Note down the times where you're going to go away and do something else. Fucking clean your flat, you bloody savages. It's a joy to listen to. And in particular, I mean, listening to the back and forth between Leon Cox and Joe Screbbles is a flat out treat. I love hearing those gentlemen talk, and yeah, it's just a real treat. So go to midnightresistance.co.uk and have a look at Midnight Resistance Very Good 2014. It's a beaut,
and it rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
We have hammered through quite a lot in just over an hour and a half.
Considering when we first sat down to do this, I had nothing. I think that's not bad.
Yeah, we're kind of a football game plus half time and a bit of injury time.
Maybe an orange.
Blow the whistle.
I don't have a whistle nearby.
Blow the whistle again. Bye.
Bye, everyone.